Hi, in this episode of There's an App for That, we'll be taking a quick peek at Nearpod, specifically the activities in Nearpod. But first, let me explain what you're seeing on your screen. On the left-hand side is the teacher device, and on the right-hand side is one of the two student devices that you'll see in this screencast. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my library and the teacher device. And in my library, I'll select one of the presentations. I'm going to launch a live session. That means that as the teacher, I control the pace of the session. I also have the option of choosing a homework session. But beware, the homework sessions only last for the first 30 days on your free trial. Once the live session is launched, you'll receive a pin that you'll share with your students. And the students put this pin in where it says join a session. Students do not need to have an account in order to participate as a student. So the first thing that we'll do is on the teacher slide, I'm going to swipe or go to the next slide by clicking here. Now again, this is going to be a presentation that's spotlighting the activities in Nearpod. You can add lots of content slides, but you'll see activity slides in this one. On the very first slide that Nearpod gives to you after your title slide, the students are asked to sign in. We're telling our students in EP to sign in with first name, last initial, and no student ID is necessary. Once they type that in, they go ahead and hit submit. On the teacher device, you'll see that this generic student number 001 will repopulate with somebody's specific name. Once all my students are signed in, I'm going to proceed to the next slide. Now this activity slide is a poll slide. And a poll does just that. It surveys or asks students for an opinion. Now what you need to know about a poll slide is that they are allowed to select more than one answer. So if you want them to only select one, be sure to say that verbally. So our students are going to go ahead and answer this poll and hit submit. And on the teacher device, we can see that individual answers begin to populate our sheet. If I wanted to share this information with the students, I simply click the share button and watch what appears on the student device. After clicking the share button, the students see all of the responses. I go ahead and click unshare. The polling activity is really great to see where your students are at as they arrive in your class. The next activity that we'll look at in Nearpod is called a draw activity. Now we'll take a look at 3 different draw activities so you can start to get an idea of how you could use this feature. In this draw activity, we have an image that's attached to the palette or the draw palette, inviting the students to plot the following. When the students go ahead and plot those, once students have submitted their drawings, they're given a thank you by Nearpod, and the teacher begins to see the submissions. This is really neat to do if you collaborate on incorrect answers, because we can share these just as we shared the poll. So when I select on one student's submission and select share, on all of the student devices, we see that student's answer. We can help that student understand that this particular plot was incorrect. Notice also that on the student devices, it's anonymous, whereas on the teacher device, I can see who submitted this. We'll go ahead and click unshare, and let's take a look at another draw activity. On the next draw activity, we again see an image pasted on our palette. In this case, we just want students to circle their favorite season. And when they hit send, we begin to see it here. The reason we wanted to show you 2 different examples of this is because this is a very common use in reading language arts classes where there's text on the draw page and students are asked to highlight the main idea and underline supporting details. We could share these just as we've been sharing the last couple slides. The final drawing activity is a blank palette where students could, this might be where teachers give a verbal direction, something like 53 times 4, and the students can go ahead and then just try to solve that. The teacher does not see the students as they're working. They'll only see the submission once the student has been done with that. Now, if a student notices that he or she makes a mistake as they're waiting for everybody else to finish theirs, they simply hit the exit here and sign back in with the same pin. If you forget what the pin is, it's always in your upper left-hand corner on the teacher device. So we've done the poll activity and we've done a draw activity. The next activity that we'll do is called an open-ended question activity. So in this example, we just ask students, what are 3 key words from the lesson? And just like the other 2 activities, we'll begin to see the student submissions as they populate the teacher device. And we can share these just as we've shared the other ones, which is one of the most engaging features of Nearpod, in my opinion, when students start seeing their classmates' answers. Okay, so we've seen the polling activity, the drawing activity, the open-ended answers activity, and the final activity that we'll take a look at is a quiz activity. Oh, that's another open-ended question activity. This was just going to show you that you can actually have longer summaries as part of the responses. So this is the quiz activity. In this activity, we'll ask our students to answer just a couple random quiz questions. And as they do begin to answer this, I'm going to stretch this teacher device out just a little bit more so that you can kind of see what we see on the teacher device. And move this down just a wee bit, or up a wee bit. We can see that Bo Keefe has already completed all 3. And this device, I'll purposely get a couple wrong just so that we can see what that looks like. Pop back over here to the teacher device and stretch the screen out. So I can see on each individual question, this person's gotten all of the answers correct, where this person has already answered 2 incorrect and is currently on the 3rd question. Okay, now when I share these answers, these results with the students, we're going to see something a little bit different. So when I share on the student device, the student sees only his or her results. And the student can go ahead and pick this tab up here, pull it up, and see which questions he or she has answered correctly and incorrectly. So those are the activities that Nearpod offers. There's one more thing that goes along with the activities, and that is the reports that I'll just tell you about. There's reports that are generated for the teacher, but there's also student-generated reports. You can revisit any of these activities or presentations at any time. They stay in your Nearpod library, and they can be published in a PDF format or spreadsheet format. Now, if you have any questions about how to get started with Nearpod, please contact one of your iLearn specialists. Thanks!